Hi everybody, my name is Hippolyte Nazio. Welcome to my channel. Starting a video, YouTube channel on talking about the Bible. God's Word is something that I'm pretty passionate about. It I just want to take time right now to say I'm new to the whole YouTube and video editing thing, so some of my videos might be good, some of them might not be good. Um, just take that into consideration and bear with me while I figure the whole thing out. Uh, it's Christmas season, so I figured this would be a good time to start to talk about Jesus' birth. All right. Not only am I going to talk about Jesus' birth, I'm going to talk about his birth and the prophecies of his birth. Uh, I find that's something that I find really amazing is how they prophesied his whole birth throughout in the Bible, and it really amazes me. Um, this time of year, we always get caught up with the holiday season, buying gifts, Christmas, giving gifts, stuff like that, and a lot of times we forget about what the true meaning of Christmas is. Um, yeah, the true meaning of Christmas is giving, but more than that, it's about Jesus' birth. So, like I said, it amazes me how they was able to prophesy his his birth before it actually happened. And I'm gonna link. I could have probably done this video, one video, on the whole thing, but I'm breaking it up into three sections because it jumps around from the New Testament to the Old Testament. The prophecies in the Old Testament, and then the actual birth of them is in the New Testament. In Genesis, it says, "And through your offspring, all nations will be blessed because you have obeyed me." Now that's in the NIV version. The New King James version, I believe it says, "And through your seed, all nations will be blessed because you have obeyed me." And to clarify that, in Matthew it says, his genealogy of Jesus, the Messiah, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Now in Genesis, God was talking to Abraham, and God told him, through your offspring, all nations will be blessed because you have obeyed me. Now what makes me think about him talking to Jesus, about him talking about Jesus when he says that, is that we read a lot about, in the Bible you read a lot about Abraham's offspring, and it's a lot of his offspring, immediate offspring, a lot of people before Jesus, they didn't seem very, they didn't seem like they were blessed, but they didn't seem like they were really blessed. They went through more hard trials than Jesus did. I mean, yeah, Jesus gave his life and all that, but that was the plan for him. But it's excuse me. I'm just trying to get the wording right on it. It says, "And through your offspring, all nations will be blessed because you have obeyed me." The one of Abraham's offspring that could have possibly blessed all nations was Jesus. So it makes me think, that he's talking about Jesus there. It says Jesus, King of the Jews. Abraham was Jewish. Go even further, and Jacob was the father of Judah and his brothers. All right. Now in Numbers 24:17 it says, I see him, but not now. I behold him, but not near. A star will come out of Jacob. A scepter will rise out of Israel. Now, when they talk about a star, the first thing that comes to mind is that when Jesus was born, they had the star that was shining over the manger, and that's the same star that the wise men followed, and the shepherds and all, everybody that went there to see Jesus born laying in a manger. That's the star that they followed. And it says that a star will come out of Jacob. So when I hear star, that's what I think of, the star that the wise men and all followed. And then it says a scepter will rise out of Israel. Now, okay, a scepter is a staff, which is a symbol of power. Think about it. Who can be more powerful than Jesus himself? I mean, other than God. Jesus is God. He did miracles, What can be more powerful than that? Healing the sick, raising the dead, forgiving sins. Nothing can be more powerful than that. So when they talk about a scepter, that makes me think of Jesus, because he's a sign of power. And in Matthew 1:6 it says, and Jesse the father of King David. And if you go back to Isaiah 11:1, a shoot will come up from the stump of Jesse. From his roots a branch will bear fruit. Now, I'm going to open up my Bible on this, because I got a little stumped on this one. It kind of confused me. It really didn't make a whole lot of sense to me when it said that a shoot will come up from the stump of Jesse. From his roots a branch will bear fruit. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So I needed to look into it a little more. And a lot of the times when I read the Bible, that's what I do. When I don't understand something, I look into it a little more. Might have to read the whole chapter or the whole book, whatever book it is. But I read on in 11, it's talking about the branch from Jesse. 11:1 it says, a shoot will come up from the stump of Jesse. From his roots a branch will bear fruit. The Spirit of the Lord will rest on him, the Spirit of wisdom and of understanding, the Spirit of counsel and of might, the Spirit of knowledge and fear of the Lord. And all he will delight in the fear of the Lord. He will not judge by what he sees with his eyes, or decide by what he hears with his ears. But with righteousness he will judge the needy. With justice he will give the decisions of the poor of earth. He will strike the earth with the rod of his mouth, and the breath of his lips he will slay the wicked. Okay. I read on through 11, from 11:1 to 11:5, and I'm thinking about it. I'm like, you know, the Spirit of the Lord will rest on him. The Spirit of the Lord rested on Jesus. The Spirit of wisdom and of understanding. Jesus was wise beyond his years. He understood God. The Spirit of counsel and of might. He counseled many. He counseled multitudes of people. Got to be Jesus. The Spirit of knowledge and fear of the Lord. Jesus was all knowing. The way it sounds in the Bible, and Jesus did, he spoke directly to God. He is God. He will not judge by what he sees with his eyes, or decide what he hears with his ears. But with righteousness he will judge the needy. With justice he will give decisions for the poor of the earth. He will strike the earth with the rod of his mouth. With the breath of his lips he will slay the wicked. And I'm like, they're talking about Jesus. They can't be talking about anybody else but Jesus. And then I say, you know what? I gotta look into it a little further. Did Jesus really judge anybody? And I'm like, no, he didn't. There's one story in the Bible, and I'm gonna pull it up real quick. It's in John 8, the very beginning of John 8. He says, Then they all went home, but Jesus went to the Mount of Olives. At dawn he appeared again in the temple courts, where all the people gathered around him, and he sat down to reach them. The teachers of the law and the Pharisees brought in a woman caught in adultery. They made her stand before the group and said to Jesus, Teacher, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. In the law of Moses, Moses commanded us to stone such women. Now, what do you say? They were using this question as a trap in order to have a basis for accusing him. I do apologize. I don't have my reading glasses on, so it's kind of hard for me to see the words, but I'm able to read it. But Jesus bent down and started to write on the ground with his finger. When they kept on questioning him, he straightened up and said to them, Let any of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her. Again he stopped. He stooped down and wrote on the ground. At this, those who heard began to go away one at a time, the older ones first, until only Jesus was left with the woman, still standing there. Jesus straightened up and asked her, Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you? No one, sir, she said. Then neither do I condemn you, Jesus declared. Go now and leave your life of sin. Now, that's the first story that came to mind when I read in the Bible, and when I read in Isaiah. In Isaiah it said that he will not judge by what he sees with his eyes or decide by what he hears with his ears. He didn't judge this woman. He did not judge this woman at all. Yeah, she sinned. Instead of judging her, it seemed to me like he judged the other ones first, the other ones most. Because he says it like this. They think they should stone her because she committed adultery or she was caught in the act of adultery. But Jesus says to him, Okay. Hey, look, if y'all have never sinned in y'all life, if y'all have never sinned, go ahead, pick up a stone. Y'all be the first ones to cast it. If you have never sinned, pick up a stone, cast it at her, throw it, hit her. And he said, he tells them this, and then they start walking away. Why? They know they sinned. Jesus judged them. He judged the ones that were wrong. Yeah, it was wrong for that woman to commit adultery, but you're going to stone her for sinning, and you sin on a daily basis, These other people are sinning too. He's basically telling them, show compassion to her. She made a mistake. That's what he did. He showed compassion. He'd seen her as making a mistake. She messed up. It's a bad thing to commit adultery, yeah. But she messed up, And I'm not going to get too much into that because that's going to get away from the story of Jesus. But I mean, to recap on what we talked about, and I mean, this is all coming from the genealogy of Jesus. In Genesis, like I said, and through your offspring all nations will be blessed because you have obeyed me. That's God talking to Abraham. Told Abraham, I'm going to bless. There's going to be somebody who's going to bless. All your nations will be blessed because you obeyed me. And in Matthew 1, it confirms it because it says, this is the genealogy of Jesus, the Messiah, the son of David, the son of Abraham. All right. In Numbers 24:17, it says, I see him, but not now. I behold him, but not near. A star will come out of Jacob. A scepter will rise out of Israel. All right. Now, like I said, the North Star, that's the first thing I think of. It's over the manger, in Bethlehem. The wise men and the shepherds follow it to go to the manger, to see Jesus. And in here it also says a scepter will rise out of Israel. Now, scepter is a staff. Scepter is a staff, which is a symbol of power. So when they're talking about a scepter, they're talking about Jesus being the symbol of power for us. It says, and then in Matthew 1:2, we know that he was part of Jacob's lineage because it says Abraham was the father of Isaac, Isaac the father of Jacob, Jacob was the father of Judah and his brothers. And like I said in Isaiah 11:1, you could read from 11:1 to 11:5, and that's everything that I read a minute ago out the Bible. A shoot will come up from the stump of Jesse. From his roots, a branch will bear fruit. And like I said, if you go further down, it talks about how he won't judge and stuff like that. And Jesus really didn't, to my knowledge, I mean, I could be wrong, but to my knowledge, he really didn't judge people. He put right where right was, he put wrong where wrong was. He was more loving and compassionate than anything. And we confirm that with Matthew 1:6, and Jesse the father of King David. And actually in Matthew 1:6, it's got a little more that goes with it, and I do apologize I didn't read it. Matthew 1:6, it says, and Jesse the father of King David, David was the father of Solomon, whose mother had been Uriah's wife. I mean, the main point of that is right here in Jess, the father of King David. That's the main point of it. And I mean, you want to go up on um, Matthew 1:5 is Solomon, the father of Boaz, whose mother was Rahab. Boaz, the father of Obed, whose mother was Ruth. Obed, the father of Jess, and Jess, the father of King David. That's that's that whole section right there that talks about um, Jesus coming from the line of Jess, which was part of the line of Jacob, which was part of the line of Abraham. It was the line of Jess, the line of Abraham. I mean, the line of Jacob and the line of Abraham. I mean, all that ties, all of Matthew 1 through 1:1 through 1:6 ties all of these prophecies together. And just the way I'm reading them to y'all is the way it happened. That's how it fell. That's how it falls in Matthew. So the point about this is that not Isaiah, in the Old Testament, they prophesied Jesus' birth. And if you look into the New Testament, in Matthew, when it talks about the genealogy of Jesus, on these first three, in Genesis 22:18, Numbers 24:17, Isaiah 11:1, it shows where, Jesus, where it ties it into Matthew 1:6. And that's what amazes me, is that, here they prophesying this Jesus' birth hundreds of years before Jesus is actually born. And all joking aside, that's really amazing. And I mean, like I did in Isaiah, it talks about how Jesus didn't judge, he wasn't there to judge or anything like that. You go back and you look for, the story, like the story in John 8. The woman committed adultery, and it's like she was caught in the act of adultery. He didn't judge her. So not only does this confirm the Old Testament, the New Testament confirmed the Old Testament, but also you could find some stories that they talked about, like in Isaiah 11:1, that he wasn't going to judge with what he's seen. Let me make sure I got that right, because I don't want to get that wrong. Right here it says, he will not judge by what he sees with his eyes. He didn't judge with what he's seen with his eyes. He judged with his heart. He judged with love and compassion. And that's the thing that amazes me. You go back and you find that story, John 8, and he didn't judge that lady. Just like nobody else should have judged her, because they sinned just like she sinned. She was caught in the act of adultery. Who's to say that these people that brought her up there wasn't the ones that she committed adultery with? It doesn't say that in the Bible, but that's a possibility. But they want to stone her because she committed adultery, because Jesus didn't do that. In Isaiah 1, they predicted that long before it actually happened. And see, that's the type of things in the Bible, from the Old Testament to the New Testament. That's the type of stuff that amazes me. They predicted this, and they predicted it like spot on, right on the money. It's It really amazes me, you know. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this series right here. Um, the next week is gonna be a whole new series. I have the stuff written down. Next week is gonna be part of the genealogy of Christ, of Jesus, and where Jesus was born. So, I mean, if you really like this Christmas series and you want to know more about Jesus and stuff like that, know more about Jesus, know more about the prophecies that were made, go ahead and y'all can give me a thumbs up. If y'all want to follow me, give me a thumbs up. Y'all want to subscribe to my channel, y'all can get more of my, y'all could, if y'all subscribe to my channel, y'all be able to get all my videos when they come out. Y'all get a notification, notification to get my that my channel, that I got a new video on my channel. And my videos, excuse me for a little bit, because I do fumble around with some of my words. A lot of times I'll say something and I know what I want to say after that, but it's like it gets stuck. So, and I'm sure it has to do with me being a little bit nervous with these videos, just starting them out. So, just, bear with me. I'll get better at it. My words will come better. The videos will start sounding a lot better. I do appreciate it. Look, that's another thing I like to do. I like to pray for people. So if there's anything you need prayer for, leave it in the comments. I don't have an email address for that just yet, but as soon as I have an email address, I'll post it in the comments, or I'll post it on the video itself, and I'll pray for y'all. I don't mind praying for y'all. If there's anything y'all need prayer for in this time, in this season of the year, let me know. I'll pray. All right. Love you guys. Y'all have a great and blessed day. Like I said, if y'all wanna follow me, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and y'all be able to get all my videos. Thank you. Have a blessed day.